Hello and welcome to Ferris Sports Update. I'm your host, Brody Kaiser. Thanks so much for tuning in to this week's show. On today's episode, we'll touch base with Bulldog Football. We'll check in with Ferris State Hockey before the Bulldogs get ready to start their season. And we'll also talk to Ferris State Volleyball head coach Tia Brando-Wilhelm. First on the show joining us is Ferris State Football assistant coach Tesfa Smith. Coach, thanks so much for being on the show with us today.
Thanks for having me, Brody.
So you're coming off your bye week, of course, a little bit of time for the guys to sort of recollect, regroup, get healed up for guys that are banged up a little bit maybe, but just talk about for you, what goes into the preparation that you guys get up to on a bye week?
First, I'd want to talk about how good it felt going in a bye week after a great win the week before against a quality opponent. It just, that was probably one of our most complete games. So heading into the bye week, like you mentioned before, Brody, it's all about healing, but more importantly, for the guys, it's about working on the fundamentals and technique that goes into this game. So that was our biggest focus the entire week, was working on the fundamentals, whether it's tackling, whether it's ball disruption, whether it's the fundamentals of playing defensive line, pass rushing, block destruction, and we just focus on that, and then kind of fine tune some stuff what we were doing schematically, and it was all a great week.
You mentioned the big win, of course, against Ashland, a very quality opponent, but a complete effort from your football team. Offense really in a good groove defensively, allowing just the 3 points. Talk about the complete effort that went into that game and also the game before against Lake Erie.
It just, Ashland, if you look at the last 3 times we've played them, they're always a tough game. In 23, I think we were down at halftime, and we had to fight to come back and win that one. So, we knew going into the game that they were going to be a physical team, a team that plays really fast defensively and offensively, try to pound the ball a little bit, and then if they can't throw the ball. So we were very happy with our results going out there and, neutralizing the run and forcing them to become one-dimensional. And then offensively, you couldn't ask for a better start, from the way our offense played and the explosive plays and putting up points. When we can score points like that offensively and play sound defense, kinds of puts the offensive opponents in a bind because they're trying to keep up with our offense at the same time, play against our defense. So, and then special teams wise, we started out the game with an opening touchdown, and it's just huge. So it was, very, fulfilling to go out there and play like the way we played, and felt good. So.
You mentioned that first touchdown. Tariq Brett returns the opening kick. What does that do for you as a defensive coach, knowing that you're playing with a lead as soon as you take the field just a couple seconds into the game?
Like I said, it gives you it kind of puts them, a little urgency on the offense that you're playing against, because if we can score a special teams touchdown, and then our offense goes out and starts moving the ball defensively, if we just play mistake-free football and play within our game, don't give up any bad plays or explosive plays, we're going to be in great shape. And, that's kind of what we did. The only time they really move the ball is, our mistakes, and then we were still able to make the stops. And I just think that continued throughout the whole game. And, the ability to get so many players into that game was also huge, and just keep building depth. So it was a great win.
The Week 0 loss against Pitt State, the defense played very, very well, and then back-to-back games allowing just 3 points. What do you think is the strength of the defense that's allowed or given opponents so many problems through the first couple of games?
I think our scheme is really well. We fine-tuned the schemes that we were doing the previous previous years, and then our personnel. We got really, whether it's up front, whether it's our linebackers, our defensive backs, we just got a lot of dudes. And I think it won a lot of guys. I think the biggest thing you can take from watching our team is they just play fast defensively, and that's what you ask for. We really stress running to the football, in practice, and they carry that over in the game. And you just see a lot of guys, 11 guys, always flying to the football, and we stress ball disruption. So keep working on creating ball disruption, getting the ball on the ground, getting the ball in the air, creating turnovers for our guys, and then making the quarterback extremely uncomfortable. I think if we can do that up front, we're going to be in a lot of games.
A lot of returners across the defense, but on the D-line, a couple new guys, new faces in there, Tyrone, Arnold, Stanley, some other guys filtering in a little bit too. What have you liked from their play, specifically those new guys that have come in and meshed very well with this unit?
It's been a pleasant surprise, when we got these guys in, they didn't do a spring ball with us. So you didn't know what you were going to get because they didn't do spring ball with us. So trying to get them to learn the scheme, and then our guys, one of the great things about our guys is we're a very welcoming team. So you couldn't, when we bring guys in, our guys are very welcoming, and so that adjustment period was not hard. But to get out there on the field and to try to be productive, it's been a surprise, and it's still growing. We're not quite there yet, so I just think that we take it week to week, and I think that we don't want to peak now, and hopefully we'll peak at the end, and if we can peak at the end, we'll be a very dangerous team.
Through training camp, a lot of the talk from the defensive guys was the importance of communication. And having some senior leaders on that team that have been around for a couple years now and really been able to establish their presence on the defense certainly helps. But what have you seen from that aspect of the players being able to communicate through these first couple of weeks?
It's been great. I think the biggest thing that we have this year that we didn't have quite last year was a bona fide leader of the group, and I think that's been, Connor Neer coming back, and he is the voice of our defense. Now, unfortunately, he got hurt, but he's still the voice of our defense, and everyone kind of corrals around him, and then you start seeing these other guys in the different position groups starting to speak up a little bit more. And I know specifically in my group, it's Victor Nelson, because he's a guy, he's just a hard worker. He's there every day, he never complains, he just goes about his business, and every Saturday he shows up, he's disruptive. And so you got him developing as a leader, and so I think as the season goes on, you'll start to see more and more guys start developing those skills. So,
talk about coming up next week. You have American International, a team that you'll be playing on the road after a couple of home games. Is it kind of nice to get back on the road and show someone else what the Dogs can do?
I'll just be very excited to play. We had that bye week, and it was good to get back to fundamentals, but you still want to play. We feel like it's really early in the season, so to play. We got some challenges going on the road. It's going to be a longer trip. That trip to Pitt State, it was tough. It wasn't easy, and we went out there, and I thought we played well and handled all of that. So being able to do that again, and taking care of our business, and I think if we play the way we're capable of, it should make for a fun trip.
Talk about American International. What are some things that they really do well, maybe specifically offensively, that you want your guys on the D-line to really try to prepare for?
I think the biggest thing watching them is their quarterback can go off script and make things happen. He's got a kind of a young group up front, so I think he knows he has a quick watch in his head that, hey, I got to get rid of the ball, I got to take off. So I think keeping him in the pocket, and collapsing the pocket and forcing him to make bad decisions will ultimately be the key for us against AIC, because I think he's their most productive player and their best player, and he'll try to make things happen with his legs if he can't with his arms. So,
Coach, last question for you before we wrap up. What have you really liked from Trinidad's play over these past couple of games?
That he's taking the team on the shoulder. I think, losing Carson, you can go both ways. I think that he's just said, all right, let's put the team on my shoulders, and you saw him go out there and play the best. And, he's played against a quality team, so I think that will only get better moving forward, and he's a hard worker, so I'm not surprised of the success he's having, because he does that when no one's looking. He's always constantly throwing to someone, or he's in the weight room working out. So I think that he will deserve all the success that will be coming his way, and we're very fortunate to have two quality quarterbacks like that, and fortunate that he's healthy enough to carry us along the way. So.
Well, Coach, thanks so much for the time today, and good luck as you take on American International.
Thanks, Brody.
We'll be right back with more Ferris Sports Update right after this.